Welcome. My name is Esther Nekesa. I work at the Directorate of Corporate Affairs, and with me is the university's Chair of Council. He is going to introduce himself and give us more details about himself. Welcome, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have a long CV. I don't know how much you wish me to introduce myself, but for purposes of time management, my name is Professor Amukowa Anangwe, the Chair of the Council of the University of Nairobi.
Yeah.
I have a long experience in public life. Apart from being in the academia, I've worked also in government at higher levels.
All right.
Yes.
How do you feel, Chair, now that we are doing this immediately after the Chancellor's visit and the Chancellor's, town hall, inaugural town hall? Let me just first start with the question, how do you feel about the weight of, your position being the Chair of Council?
Well, the position of being the Chair of the Council is provided for in the University Act 2012. It's also provided for in the Charter, but essentially the Chair of the Council chairs a council that has been mandated under those particular acts of Parliament to discharge various responsibilities. And in a nutshell, the role of the Council presupposes that authority of the university is a shared responsibility. It's shared authority. There is one part by the Council, there is another part by the Chancellor, and there is another part by the Vice Chancellor and the management. There is a part also for the Senate and other parts of the university governance structure. On the part of the Council, as we all know, it is the pillar of governance in the university. According to the Charter, it approves budgets. It is responsible for appointments of all staff. I mean all staff. It also conducts oversight over the management. It formulates policies and matters that the management may wish to be initiated must always get the concurrence by way of resolutions to get them to become legitimate. So far, so good. I came in very recently, I must say.
Actually, that was my next question. Like, when did you, assume the role?
Yes. A Gazette notice of 23rd of May, 2023, is the one that authorized us to become a council. And we were taking over a previous council that had finished its part. And we have been in office for less than a year.
Yes.
And we have done a lot in between.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe just in terms of percentages, it's shortly, the way they measure leaders in terms of the first 100 days, the first 1 year, the first word. So it's short. We are almost, we're in January, so it's a few months to May. How much in terms of percentage could you give it in terms of the achievement of the new council?
Okay.
Just if you can weigh yourselves.
Yes. I must say when we came in, we had a bit of a difficult start, being new, and we needed to understand the system. We needed to understand the council affairs and how they are supposed to be managed. We needed to understand how to interface with the other organs, particularly management, and notwithstanding the challenges that ensued, we were able to prioritize where we wanted to go. And the first priority was how to liquidate the huge university debts. This particular university, and as applies to other universities, it is encumbered by huge debts. When we came in, we were told the university's debts amounted to 15 billion. And towards the beginning of this financial year, things had gotten worse. It was 17 billion. And now I'm told it's 19 billion. These resources and these debts pertain to issues of care dues that we have not been able to pay. It's about pension funds. Whose resources the university may have not remitted as it ought to have done. There are also bank loans. There are outstanding fees and the likes. So we needed to focus on this, because unless you solve that kind of debilitating debt portfolio, you become nearly insolvent. We can't say it is insolvent because we have assets, and if they were to be translated into money, it would be enough. But we have liquidity problems.
It's interesting that you say that, Chair. My first question was actually about the state of the university, because I wanted you to comment, and you've already started on it.
Yes,
so
the second priority was ensuring financial self-sustainability. As you know, government capitation to public universities has been declining. Earlier on, it had been presumed that the government provide 80% of the budget. In spite of the willingness to do so, sometimes it became difficult for the government to meet its obligation, and we have had to go through different funding models. And as of now, we can say that the government contributes to around 40, below 50%. We are able to collect fees for ourselves. We are able to secure international partnerships to generate additional resources. And we look forward to being able to do more to fill the void that has arisen because of the changes in the capacity of the government to meet its obligations or pledges. The third, of course, area of interest has been availability of research funds. The purpose of the university and the university faculties is to do research. Many of these university faculty members have the expertise. But securing money is a bit of a challenge. They are not able to get the money to help them to conduct the research. Research is a very tedious and money-consuming exercise. So we gave ourselves a challenge to see how we can mobilize additional resources to be available to the university faculties to conduct their research. And the third area that we gave priority to ourselves was prior preparation for the CBC. CBC is coming, that first cohort of CBC secondary school graduates are going to come here in 2029 as they go to other universities as well. That requires a lot of prior preparation in terms of physical infrastructure, in terms of reorienting the curriculum. You are aware the emphasis in this CBC curriculum is different from the current one. You also need to retool the staff. If you don't retool the staff, they will continue to teach what they know. After all, you can only teach what you know. If you have not been retrained and they bring you a CBC, you will read the CBC and you'll still continue what you know. We'll also have to do many things, including preparation of the teaching materials. It's an exercise in itself. That is time consuming and also resources. And the last one, the priority we gave ourselves is the current mantra, taking the university to global level, making the university a world-class institution, so that we are not just satisfied being number one in Kenya or in Africa. We also want to be number one amongst the top ones in the world. This, we have initiated, taken initiatives to realize some of these priorities. In terms of the huge debts, the council met and made a raft of recommendations on what needed to be done.
Yeah, because good, Chair, because that was my next question. Like, what measures does then the council recommend?
A raft of recommendations. One recommendation was to, of course, it's not the main priority, is to see how we can renegotiate with the government in relation to debts. The bulk of the debts, say 10 billion, we owe to KRA. We have not been remitting KRA dues. Similarly, the dues to the pension funds, and we have a bank loan to, amounting to about 600 million. It has been pending. We also owe other institutions. So we came with a raft of measures on what needed to be done. We needed to enhance resource mobilization. In fact, one area we are hoping the new chancellor will facilitate is how we can enhance resource mobilization. And as part of our initiative as the council is to come up with a strategy to support management to come up with a strategy on resource mobilization at various levels. For instance, during the entourage with the chancellor, we discovered there is high potential to commercialize some of the activities that take place in the universities. They are innovations. All they need is incubation and commercializing them. And it's upon the council to come up with a policy framework within which this can be realized. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe just to move on to the next question. But before we move, I wanted to just highlight that we've mentioned the issue of debt.
Yes.
We've mentioned the issue of research funds, lack of, we need to retool, preparation for CBC.
Yes.
And you're saying self-sufficient.
Yes.
Yes.
And making the university world-class.
We are going global.
Yes.
So what do you consider to be the foremost threats to the growth of the university? What would you say is the major threat?
The major threat? The major threat
that will hinder this growth.
Yes. The major threat is that, you know, when you go for resource mobilization, it's like going on a fishing expedition. You really don't know whether you will catch fish
or not,
or you will catch crabs or snakes. But we are very hopeful, given our new chancellor, that we will be able to mobilize adequate resources, given the trajectory and the understanding we have reached on what we need to do in terms of priorities in resource mobilization in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term. That is key. Resources are needed. The other one is, of course, to look at ourselves internally in terms of seeing what can be commercialized. Like if you go to the faculty, the science and technology building, wonderful ideas, wonderful innovations. If you go to the faculty of agriculture and veterinary sciences, lots of innovations. Some are already patented, and everyone is complaining there's this particular potential, and there are many people in demand of these kinds of products and services. We need to do it. So the challenges are obviously there. The other challenge is, of course, decline in government capitation. We have the new funding model. We are part of it. and we are looking forward upon it to generate resources that will be able to help us. Many of the programs in government, in the university, many of the teaching programs have resource implications, and they are very heavy. Yes.
So that's number one.
Yes.
We need resources.
Yes, we need resources, and we have a strategy. We are mooting a strategy on how to mobilize resources,
Right.
both at the university level, and nationally, and globally. At the national level, we are going to reorient the alumni association to take advantage of a huge base of the alumni. As of now, we have 260,000 of them. We have gone to European universities many years back, and they still follow us with the newsletters, with the communication about fundraising.
Yes.
Not much money, $100, maybe £20, and so forth, to go and support their activities. Some have to do with the research. I went to University of Manchester many years back. They still follow me. I went to the university, Erasmus University in the Netherlands. They still send me messages to communicate what is happening and the kinds of support they would need from the alumni in terms of contribution. I can tell you, since I left these universities many years ago, when I left the graduation, that's the last time, graduation ceremony, that's the last time the university communicated to me. And if we were to take a route that other universities, international universities have taken, would be able to raise about 2 billion shillings from our alumni. And one of the strategic agenda we have adopted, and which the Chancellor is willing to run away with, is how to harness this particular potential to generate more resources.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
So is that, maybe not to preempt, but what is the new council bringing to the table that will enable it to, mitigate the challenges that you've mentioned and avoid the curses that have befallen the previous council? I don't know. I know you know about the University of Nairobi.
No, you'll clarify which are these
You know a little bit of history.
So that anyway, what is the University Council bringing to the table? The University Council is bringing to the table the resolve to give strategic direction that is focused on the priorities that I have already stated as a way of ameliorating the state of affairs, especially with respect to resources. I know the management is preoccupied with operational day-to-day, and sometimes they need to be complemented. And it is very fitting that when the Universities Act was formulated, it deemed it fit to create this particular organ called the University Council to be thinking strategically. And thinking strategically, you look at the bigger picture and how in this particular bigger picture you can harness the opportunities, how you can circumvent the challenges, how you can turn challenges into opportunities to be able to resolve our internal scarcity of resources. We also have a task to ensure that there is improvement in the management of human resources. One area where there is a deficit in human resource management in this university, and for many years, long before even the current VC came, absence of a human resource management system. It doesn't exist, and a scenario of that matter leaves human resource exposed, and sometimes leaves the staff exposed to whimsical decision making because there is no structured way of addressing staff needs. When a staff member joins an organization,
Sure.
He or she has certain expectations. She needs or he needs to be motivated. Salary must be adequate for living, and you have also to expect mobility from one level to the other.
Yes.
There's also the challenge of having opportunities to grow and a conducive working environment devoid of toxic atmosphere.
Yeah.
When people are angry, they can't produce.
Sure.
Yes, and if you make me angry, I'll spend the whole day nursing anger, and I can't be productive. So there, the University Council has initiated human resource management system. We have already gone through a process which many staff in the university have had the opportunity to participate in terms of generating ideas and about the organizational structure, about the establishment, about the grading system, about human resource policy. Those things are going to be new, and they will help when in the management of the human resource in this particular in this university. That is a plus for this particular council, and there are many more that I could cite. We are also trying to look at the perennial problems that afflict the university in order to create an enabling environment for the management to deliver. And quite often the management comes with the reports, reports on issues. We also have committees. There are 3 committees. One is about risk and audit committee that looks at how the finances are being spent. We have the human resource management committee that looks at the challenges to prescribe proposals on how to go forward. We also have the finance and strategy committee that looks at the financial matters, and they have done great through their reports. And we look forward to getting these particular resolutions and proposals through the council implemented to make the university a better place.
Good. That's good news for the person who's sitting here who is a staff member.
Yes.
So just wanted to find out, how should we, like in terms of accountability, can we hold you to account the things that you have said? Because the question is asking, how should we evaluate the performance of the council in the next 3 years?
Now, in the first place, we have not stayed for 3 years. So how can you evaluate before we have even performed?
No, it's the
okay,
next.
I understand. You want us to set the
pledge
parameters.
Something. Can you pledge something that we can ask Prof after 3 years?
The one thing we can pledge as a council, you will have a rationalized organizational structure. And this particular organizational structure is not top-down. It is bottom-up. And it was a deliberate decision of the council that before we concretize on the structure of the organization, we must take the agenda to the people. And that exercise has gone on in faculties, it has gone on in departments, even the unions have participated, the management has participated. So that bit will be able to achieve. I know the previous council of Professor Julia Ojiambo came up with the reforms that ended up controversially. In the first instance, she didn't have the time to finalize neatly those reforms that she had started. And 2, some segments of the university went to court to challenge those reforms. And that matter is still pending in court. Of course, it has not been conclusively done, but that was then. We thought that we have to proceed. You know, the goodness of an organizational structure from my point of view. An organizational structure is the sum total of the way an organization divides up its labor into tasks and achieves coordination. An organizational structure rationalizes activities. It is a vehicle, an organizational, it is the infrastructure through which an organization can realize its objectives, its strategy, and it must be functional. Where an organizational structure is haphazard, really the place is in chaos. You don't know the authority reporting relations. There is no hierarchy. What prevails is normally a democracy. You even find informal organization now overwhelming the formal one. Ethnicity becomes the criteria upon which you will rise or you will benefit. And those kinds of tendencies arise because the way the organizational structure is designed is flawed. In that organizational structure, of course, we'll know how to position people, define their responsibility and authority. And there must be a common understanding that that's the state of affairs, and people have to adhere to what has been provided. But when it doesn't, things become personalized. It is not so much about technical know-how, it's about technical know-who. Whom can you follow to help you? I get all sorts of WhatsApp messages. Oh, this group is everywhere. No, we are missing. I say, no, my God, how can I be able to sort this? And the best remedy is to have organizational structure. You have to have grading structure. You have human resource. You have establishment. You have to have policies. You know, when you have a human resource policy, it also provides a career structure. And if you fulfill 3 years in this particular position, you should move to the next level. You should not act for 20 years. I know in this university, it's phenomenal that those malpractice still prevail and people are unhappy. I hear all sorts of complaints as we are moving around. Those complaints were being told to the chancellor.
Sure.
Of course, when you are in pain, you don't care whether the chancellor is new. You just have to blurt it out so that the message can reach where it's supposed to be. Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
And I had.
Yeah, clearly. In touch with the university community, and that's very encouraging. So what can you say, what can you tell if you were to talk to a university community member? Maybe a word of encouragement, or you know, like a parting shot, but something that you can leave them with if they're not in touch with you every day, but they know that the chair said this.
Let me begin by saying that the University of Nairobi is the right place to be. I know sometimes people talk about greener pastures, but those who live here and go there, I think they regret. Because the so-called green pastures are not as green as they were presumed to be. Small places, no systems, lack of institutionalization, yes, myriads of challenges. So I wish to reassure the university community that they are in the right place. That having been said, that's not to say there are no challenges. There are challenges about all manner of things. People say equipment is not adequate. Students say when this particular university was started or earlier on, especially in the Faculty of Medicine, one lecturer along the bedside was supposed to have 20 students. You know, in some programs, it's hands-on. Now you find 450. It becomes even impossible for that particular to do so. So that becomes an issue. There is, of course, a problem of accommodation, lack of facility, resources, and authority to make decisions. Or you hear of a dean. I have identified this particular problem. But there is nothing I can do. We have to direct the requests to high up. Okay? We will devolve. Under the new review of the organizational structure, we will revolve so that decisions are made at the best levels where there's competence. We shall even restructure to enable, of course, those various levels to have the capacity to effect the requisite decisions. And as the council chair, there is no place without problems, except in the grave. If you go to the grave, there are no problems. You don't need to eat. You don't need to complain. In fact, the day you die, you are given a royal escort to the grave. You are sleeping. So it's everywhere. There will always be challenges. What is important is that the university is versatile, it is resilient, and when those problems occur, we are willing to take the requisite measures as a council, and I'm sure the Chancellor will do his bit as part of management. But the message I wish to reiterate, which message the Chancellor has been saying for the last few days, it cannot be business as usual anymore in the university. We have aspiration to become a global university. That will have implications on many things in terms of reorienting the curriculum. You can't become international if you are not able to deliver graduates that fit international or global market. We will have to revisit the infrastructure so that the infrastructure is adequate and acquires global standards. We'll have to mobilize resources to secure the technology that is required to sustain global measures, standards. We will have several other things that we have to do in between. It is not just a walk in the park. There's a lot more that needs to be done, and basically is to change the culture, the organizational culture, the culture in the university, to begin to think global, not sustain the village mentality. It cannot help us to reach the global status in that respect.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Okay.
My questions are over. I don't know whether you have anything that you may think we have not touched on, or that you may think that you would want to pass, to pass on to the community.
No, the one important thing that I wish to pass to the community, particularly the alumni of the University of Nairobi.
Yes.
Many people have passed through this university. Some are highly blessed. Of course, the obvious example is excellent the President,
yes.
Prof. Dr. Samuel,
William Samoei Ruto.
We have also the Deputy President. We have many people in both private and public sector who are doing fine. And there are others in the diaspora. This particular bit, I wish to appeal to the alumni of the University of Nairobi that we are now restructuring to mainstream the alumni contribution and relations with the university, alongside other initiatives to enhance partnership. In the process of trying to reach the alumni, we will reach them, and they should also come forward. These mechanisms that we are putting in place to tap into the alumni has a potential to generate lots of money on a continuous basis in billions. Apologies on behalf of the university that so far we have not been there.
Yeah.
I'm one of the complainants, but now I'm in the seat as the council chair. Would wish them to come in handy to participate in the alumni activities. And the rest of Kenyans, yes, we have targeted, we have given ourselves to transform the university into a global institution, and it will have implications, even the way we run programs.
Sure.
We cannot continue, we cannot have a quest to seek a global status, and we still conduct ourselves in the old organizational culture. Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched and followed this conversation, please like, comment, share. Let us hear your thoughts. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.